Hello, my friends. Good evening. This is Tassif, starting a new live stream to talk about election 2026. We are almost at the end of calendar year 2025, just a few more days left, and we are soon going to be entering 2026. And there's going to be a lot to discuss. And I want to start with asking you a question. Did you know that there's a very important gubernatorial race coming up? Of course, there are many important gubernatorial races coming up. There's one in Illinois, neighboring state. In fact, there's one in Wisconsin. One in New York. There's a gubernatorial race coming up in California. Do we have anyone from California? There's a gubernatorial race coming up in Michigan. There's one coming up in Georgia, and more. So which one am I talking about? I'm talking about the one in Arizona. Okay, if you're listening to me from Arizona, please let me know. I see our friends have joined. I see Frank and Kay and James and Evelyn and Salerno and others. I'm sure will be tuning in very soon. So if you are from Arizona, please let me know. I obviously want to hear your thoughts. If you are from Arizona, by the way, who's the governor of Arizona right now? Can anyone tell me? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to give me the answer without searching for it on the internet, okay? Don't ask AI. Don't look it up on Google. James has the answer. Katie Hobbs. Exactly. Katie Hobbs. She's a Democrat and definitely not a Trump ally. So Katie Hobbs is up for re-election, and she's seeking another term in office. So the Arizona gubernatorial election will be taking place in 2026. And I know that on this channel, we do have friends from Arizona. I'm just not seeing them today. Hey, listen, friends, if you're watching from Arizona, please participate. This is your opportunity. We're going to be talking about what's going on in your state because there's a gubernatorial election coming up. So I don't know if AC Cruz is here. That's right. Evelyn, I was thinking about AC Cruz. I don't see AC Cruz here. So AC, if you're watching the replay, AC, if you are listening to us, please share your thoughts. And we have other friends. We got Teresa Ross. Teresa, are you listening? Teresa is in Arizona. I don't know if Teresa is listening to us right now. Anyway, so this important race that's coming up in Arizona, there's something I want to say about Arizona before we jump deep into the discussion. Arizona has been a very difficult state to deal with politically. Jamie is here. Hello, Jamie. Good to see you. We got Mike. Oh, Mike is from Australia. Okay. All right, Mike. This is not Michael Brown, right? This is different Mike, also from Australia. Michael Brown's from Australia too. So yeah, welcome, Mike. Thanks for participating. So what I was saying is that Arizona has been a very difficult state to deal with politically. You know why? Because it is very, very hard to figure out. It is very hard to figure out the political dynamics of Arizona. That's right. I mean, just look at the 2024 presidential election, okay? Who won Arizona? First, let me ask you that. 2024, November, the presidential election. Who won Arizona? Can you tell me? Did Donald Trump win Arizona, or was it Kamala Harris? I'm going to let you answer that. I see James already has the answer. That's right, James. Trump. Evelyn is also saying Trump. Exactly. Trump won Arizona in 2024. Donald Trump, in fact, he got, you're going to like this, 52.2% of the votes from Arizona, while Kamala Harris, Democrat Kamala, she got 46.7%. So there, if you do the math, there's a difference. There's a significant difference when you're talking about elections. There's a significant difference between 52.2 and 46.7. And so Donald Trump clearly won Arizona's electoral college votes. By the way, do you know how many electoral votes Arizona has? Can anyone tell me without searching for the answer on the internet, without phoning a friend, without asking somebody, without asking AI? Can you tell me? Can you tell me how many electoral votes are there in Arizona? Quiz question, my friends. Tell me. James is asking if it's 11. All right, James, hold on a second. I'm going to give you the answer. If others want to guess, K Cooper sending me question marks. All right. Anyone else? Anyone wants to make a guess? All right. 10 more seconds before I give you the answer. Make a guess. Make a guess. All right. James, you are correct. It's 11. That's right. So Donald Trump won Arizona's 11 electoral college votes. That was in November 2024. But sadly, that same year, that same month, same election, in a different race, in the Senate race, in the U.S. Senate race, same ballot, the Republican candidate lost the race. And a Democrat named Ruben Gallego, finally I figured out how to pronounce his name, Ruben Gallego. I hope I'm right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Ruben Gallego won that Senate election, all right? I mean, my friends, I'm going to have to ask you. It's still kind of mind-boggling to me, all right? It's still kind of mind-boggling. By the way, do you remember who the Republican U.S. Senate candidate was in that race? 2024 November. Can anyone tell me? I know I'm asking you a lot of questions, all right? Some of you might be saying, Tassif, why don't you just give us the information rather than asking us all these quiz questions? What is it? Is it like a midterm exam or something? You're asking us all these questions. I want this to be interactive. I shouldn't be the only one talking on this side of the screen. So I want you to participate. So I'm asking all these questions. You're not going to be graded on this, all right? It's not an exam. In case you're getting confused and you're thinking, oh my God, is this like, are we in college? Is it an exam? Are we going to be graded on this? No, it's just, we're just having some fun, So, yeah, that's right, Carrie Lake. That's right, Carrie Lake, yeah. A very widely known name, if you ask me, Kari Lake. So many people across the country know this candidate, know this person, political figure, candidate at the time. So Kari Lake lost against Democrat Ruben Gallego, while Donald J. Trump defeated Kamala Harris in Arizona in November of 2024. And if you look at the number of votes, let me tell you that in Arizona, in November of 2024, the winner of the presidential race, that is Donald J. Trump, got more votes than the winner of the U.S. Senate race, that is Ruben Gallego. That's right, Donald Trump, he won the presidential race in Arizona. Ruben Gallego won the Senate race in Arizona, but Donald Trump got more votes than Ruben Gallego. Donald Trump got approximately 1.77 million votes. That's awesome. You know, if you ask me, 1.77 million. Oh my God, that's a lot of votes. And Gallego got 1.67 million votes. All right. In fact, for those who did not know, Kari Lake, who lost the Senate race, got more votes than Kamala Harris, who lost the presidential race in Arizona. And obviously she lost overall, you know. But we're talking about Arizona only. We're not talking about all the other states. But yeah, I know some of you are probably going to, you know, remind others that, hey, Kamala Harris not only lost Arizona, she lost the election overall. That's good. That's good. I know some people need a reminder every now and then. You know, if you're at a holiday party and you know you're meeting up with, you know, friends, family, whatever, and you know maybe you have a nice time, but you got some political differences with somebody in the room, and you say, hey, you know what? Kamala Harris not only lost Arizona, she actually lost the race overall. She lost the Electoral College. She lost the popular vote. Just remind folks. All right. Kamala lost. Anyway, back to the discussion. Kari Lake, in November of 2024 in Arizona, Kari Lake got more votes than Kamala Harris. So it's very, very interesting, okay? So on the same night, the Republicans lost the Senate race in Arizona, the U.S. Senate race in Arizona, while winning the presidential race in Arizona, which is very interesting. What does it suggest? Can anyone tell me? What conclusion are you going to draw from that? Tommy Brown from Colorado, good to see you. What conclusion are you going to draw? Tell me. Tell me, my friends. I want to hear from you. By the way, remember, you gotta like this video. You gotta like this video. Hit the like button, my friends. You know, I gotta remind you because it's okay. People forget. I know that. So, you know, just a reminder, you gotta hit the like button because that helps this video reach more people. And that's exactly what we're trying to do through this channel. We're trying to reach more people, my friends. On this channel, we discuss social and political issues, both domestic and international, but you know, the goal is to spread the message of freedom. And so if you want to support this channel, you got to like this video. All right. Hit the like button. I would appreciate that very, very much. All right. Get that number to increase. Get the number to increase, the number of likes. And also feel free to share this video. So anyway, back to what I was talking about. On the same night in November of 2024, the GOP candidate lost the US Senate race in Arizona, but the GOP presidential candidate won the race, won the state of Arizona. What does that suggest? It suggests that the voter turnout was driven by Donald Trump's name on the ballot. That's right. That's right. It's because Donald Trump was on the ballot. The voters were mobilized. People wanted to go and vote. People wanted to go and deliver. The people of Arizona, they wanted to go and deliver a massive, amazing victory to Donald Trump. People said, it's time to MAGA, which Tommy Brown is writing, MAGA country. It's time to make America great again. So the people of Arizona, they went and they voted for Donald J. Trump. And it's because his name appeared on the ballot. People were motivated. People were mobilized. People were energized. People had the enthusiasm, the drive to go and vote for the Republican presidential candidate, Donald Trump. And that's how Donald Trump won Arizona, which people call a swing state. My friends, all the energy and enthusiasm in Arizona was because of Donald Trump. Remember, previously in 2022, when Trump was not in office, when Trump was not on the ballot in 2022, that was when the last gubernatorial election took place in Arizona. Back then also, it was Kari Lake on the ballot from the Republican side, and from the Democrat side, obviously, Katie Hobbs. And we know the results, because you know who the current governor is, Katie Hobbs. So obviously, Katie Hobbs, the Democrat, won that election. Kari Lake did not win. And so Katie Hobbs is the governor now. It was a very narrow margin, though. I got to point that out. A very, very narrow margin. You know, Katie Hobbs in 2022, she got, the Democrat, Katie Hobbs, she got 50.3% of the votes, and Kari Lake got 49.6%. I mean, can you imagine what a narrow margin that was? Can you imagine? Like a little bit more enthusiasm, a little bit more Republican voter turnout could have delivered different results. 2022, I remember that election night. I'll never forget. Midterm election, November 2022. You look at Arizona, Katie Hobbs won, but by just a little bit. You know why? Because Donald Trump was not on the ballot. So the level of enthusiasm among the Republican voters was not what we would like it to be. Republican voters did not have the drive, did not have the enthusiasm in 2022 because Trump was not on the ballot. In Arizona. And that's why Katie Hobbs, she made it, she won, she reached the finish line. She won the governor's race. She became the governor, and Kari Lake, just for a little bit, she got left behind. It was a very, very narrow race. You can go look up the results, the details on the internet. So my point is, in November 2022, Kari Lake lost. I mean, just by a little bit, but It's binary. You either win or lose. You may win by a lot, you may win by a little bit, but a win is a win. Katie Hobbs won, Kari Lake lost. So when you look at Arizona, November 2022, the GOP lost that gubernatorial race. But then in 2024, although President Trump won the state, but our Senate candidate, once again, Kari Lake, lost in Arizona. So this is a real swing state. I mean, talk about a swing state. You heard that name, right? Swing state, like Wisconsin is a swing state. Michigan is a swing state. Pennsylvania is a swing state. You can call it a battleground state. Arizona is just like that. I think so. Arizona is a real swing state. It's a real battleground state. So now the question is, what's going to happen in November of 2026? What's going to happen? What's going to happen in November of 2026 in Arizona? There's a gubernatorial election, and Katie Hobbs, the governor, is running for re-election. And let me tell you this. I'm gonna start with hope here. I think 2026 presents the Republicans with an opportunity to reclaim the governor's seat in Arizona. That's right. Republicans, they have a big opportunity in front of them. The Republicans looking at Arizona, paying attention to the governor's race there and thinking, there's a real opportunity to win this race. There's a real opportunity to defeat Katie Hobbs. Can it be done? Can it be done? Will the GOP succeed in defeating Katie Hobbs in Arizona? That's why I've been asking anyone from Arizona watching this. I'm here in Wisconsin. I pay a lot of attention to Arizona, but I don't live in Arizona. I'm not talking to the people of Arizona every day. I'm not experiencing life in Arizona. I'm not buying gas in Arizona. I'm not buying groceries in Arizona. I'm not paying rent in Arizona. I'm not paying mortgage in Arizona. I'm not driving on the roads of Arizona. But if you are a resident of Arizona, you are experiencing all that. You're talking to your neighbors. You're talking to the people at your workplace. You're talking to the people around you in the neighborhood in Arizona. So I want to hear from you what you are experiencing, what you think the voters of Arizona are thinking about. Kay Cooper, your brother lives in Arizona. Kay, why don't you, Kay, you're going to have to talk to your brother and find out what the people of Arizona are thinking regarding this gubernatorial election that's coming up next year. It's less than a year from now, November 2026. We are almost at the end of December of 2025. I want to hear what the people of Arizona are saying about gas prices, grocery prices, everything, the education system, and Arizona being a border state. Okay, I see a viewer here is saying that you live in Arizona and people are not happy. So are you saying that people are not happy with Katie Hobbs being the governor? So people are not happy with the current state leadership in Arizona? Is that what you're saying? If that's the case, then that presents a real opportunity for the Republicans to defeat Katie Hobbs. If people are not happy with the governor, then the Republicans have a real chance of winning this election. So, my friends, 2026 is a big election year. It's a big election year. You know, I'm gonna give you a very fair and honest analysis. I think regarding this gubernatorial race in Arizona 2026, I think the Democrats, that is Katie Hobbs, who's running for re-election, and her allies, I think the Democrats have a certain advantage in this gubernatorial race because they have the incumbent. And if you have experience in politics, then you know that the incumbent always has a certain advantage. Whether it's a Republican incumbent or a Democrat incumbent, doesn't matter. And of course, there are exceptions. So this does not apply to each and every race. Senate, governor's race, Senate race, House race, no. There are exceptions, but as a general, as I don't know if it's like a general rule. I don't want to call it a rule, but there's a general understanding that the incumbent always has a certain advantage because the incumbent is the current office holder. The incumbent already has experience being in office. The incumbent already has experience winning an election. So going into a re-election race, the incumbent has that advantage. And now the incumbent is Katie Hobbs, Democrat. And that's why I said that the Democrats have a certain advantage, which means it's going to be challenging for the Republicans. Undoubtedly. The Arizona gubernatorial race is going to be a tough one. Now, there's a bright side. There's a bright side. I don't want you to think, oh, Tassif just said that the incumbent has an advantage. And of course, he pointed out that Kari Lake, the GOP candidate, lost in 2022, the gubernatorial race. Then, the GOP candidate also lost the U.S. Senate race in 2024. So, this is a race that we can't win. We're just, we're going to give up hope. Katie Hobbs is going to be reelected. Do not draw that conclusion yet. Don't, because I'm going to talk about a bright side for the Republicans. It looks like, get ready, you're going to love this. It looks like the gubernatorial race in Arizona is actually a toss-up. Yeah, I was looking at some of the analysis, and clearly, if you're looking at the polls, you're going to know that this race is actually a toss-up. What does it mean for a race to be a toss-up? Can anyone tell me? We hear this term a lot in politics. Oh, the race is a toss-up. What does it mean? Can anyone explain it to me? Go ahead and explain the first thing that comes to mind politically when you hear the term toss-up. Go ahead. I'm gonna wait here for a little bit. Go ahead, my friends. Go ahead. By the way, it's good to see new names pop up in the live chat. All the new folks who are watching, all the new folks who are here and watching my video for the first time, why don't you go ahead and subscribe and be a part of this community of freedom-loving people? Oh, Evelyn's asking me the question, when we hear what? Evelyn, I'm just asking, when you hear the term toss-up, oh, this is a toss-up race. What is the first thing that comes to mind? Kay Cooper has the answer. It could go either way. That's right. It could go either way. It's a 50-50 almost. It's like you cannot predict who's going to win. It's not a lean Republican. It's not a lean Democrat. It's not a solid Republican. It's not a solid Democrat. It's a toss-up. It could go either way. And that's what this Arizona gubernatorial race is. It's a toss-up. I've looked at a few different polls, and, you know, it's going to be a real close race. It's going to be a real close race. Now, of course, on the Republican side, there are multiple candidates running, which means there's going to be a primary. That's right. And once again, if there are folks from Arizona watching this, I want to hear your thoughts about the Republican primary. Oh, I want to hear your thoughts about the Republican primary. Do you have a preferred candidate? There's more than one person running. There are multiple people running. So who are you going to support? Go ahead and let me know in the live chat. All right. Subscribe, my friends. Good to see people tuning in. All right. Okay. I'm going to go forward with the discussion. There's a primary, but it seems like Andy Biggs. You heard about Andy Biggs? Andy Biggs, hold on a second here. Andy Biggs is a congressman. He's running for governor, and it appears that Andy Biggs has an advantage. Okay, so there's Taylor Robson. Hold on a second here. All right, sorry. Okay. So as I was saying, Andy Biggs, congressman, he's running for governor, and there's also Karen Taylor Robson, who's running for governor, and there's another person whose last name, unfortunately, I cannot pronounce because I don't know how to pronounce it. David, and the last name starts with an S. Okay, so David, we'll just call him David S. I cannot pronounce his name. I'm looking at the spelling. Anyway, I'm sorry. Andy Biggs is running, GOP candidate. Karen Taylor Robson is running, GOP candidate. David S. running, GOP candidate. But as I look at the current poll numbers, it seems that Andy Biggs is leading. He's the front runner from the Republican side. Okay. So let's just assume that Andy Biggs wins the nomination. He wins the primary. He's the candidate for the general election, Congressman Andy Biggs. Let's just assume that he's the GOP nominee. Now, I'm looking at an Emerson poll, and Andy Biggs, according to that poll, is at 43%. So this is Biggs versus Katie Hobbs, all right? Assuming Biggs is the nominee. So it's Andy Biggs versus Katie Hobbs. Emerson poll says Andy Biggs is at 43%, Katie Hobbs is at 44%. That means it's a real tight race. It's a real tight race. If Andy Biggs is at 43, Katie Hobbs is at 44. And you know what? Given the fact that Katie Hobbs is the incumbent, one would assume that she would be at 50% or more, right? At 50% or more, but she's at 44% according to Emerson poll. That tells me there's something wrong. That tells me that the people of Arizona don't exactly like Katie Hobbs. The people of Arizona don't exactly give Katie Hobbs a good grade. The people of Arizona are probably not very happy with Katie Hobbs' performance as the governor. And so that's why she's at 40. I mean, even if she were somewhere near, 49%, maybe not 50 or more, 49%, I would say, yeah, okay, close enough. She's probably doing okay. But she's at 44% with Andy Biggs at 43. This is like a tie, at that kind of a margin, 43 versus 44, it's basically a tie. All right? That's according to Emerson poll. Biggs at 43, Hobbs at 44. That tells me that the Democrats are not really in a very good position. Yes, did I say that the incumbent always has an advantage? Or not always, but in general has an advantage? Yes, I did say that, but it doesn't seem to apply. In the case of this Arizona gubernatorial race, if Katie Hobbs is only at 44%. By the way, if you look at the real clear polling average, which is something that, I think it's interesting to look at. If you look at the real clear polling average, Andy Biggs is at 40%. Katie Hobbs is at 41.5%. Once again, that's just a 1.5 percentage point difference. 40% versus 41.5%. That's only a 1.5 percentage point difference. That is nothing. It's basically a tie. So you can understand that Katie Hobbs is not exactly in a good position. Yes, she is the incumbent. Yes, it's a swing state. Yes, she defeated Carrie Lake previously, but this time, if Andy Biggs gets the nomination and runs against Katie Hobbs in the general, then Katie Hobbs, she may be, according to these polls, ahead by a little bit. But it's basically a tie, because understand this, a poll is a poll. This is not the final result. It just tries to give you a picture of where things are heading, and things don't look very positive for Katie Hobbs. So my friends, you got to understand this. There's some hope for the Republicans. Yes, GOP, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, GOP, and I'm also GOP. I'm a proud conservative, a proud Republican. In case you didn't figure that out already, didn't you see my hat? What does it say? What does my hat say? Why don't you repeat it? Listen, I don't know what my hat says. Why don't you spell it out in the live chat? Do it. Well, let's say I'm asking you. I do not know what my hat says, but I can see the live chat. Why don't you write the words Real is saying it. Real. Wyatt. Wyatt is saying, make America great again. Exactly. Exactly, Wyatt. Thank you for writing that. Make America great again. Evelyn. Evelyn from Las Vegas saying, make America great again. By the way, we're going to talk about Nevada real soon, Evelyn. Evelyn, get ready. We're going to talk about Nevada. Today we're talking about Arizona. We're not talking about Nevada today because that's going to be a separate episode. There's a lot to discuss about Nevada, all right? There's a gubernatorial race coming up in Nevada, in case you didn't know that. There's going to be a lot to discuss about the 2026 Nevada gubernatorial election. We're going to talk about that. Not today. Not today. It's going to require a separate episode, separate live stream, and it's going to be awesome. All right. So, my friends, what I'm saying is there's hope for the Republicans in Arizona in 2026, looking at the gubernatorial race. I know we're still months away from the election. This is a race that must be closely watched. You know, I can already predict, not the outcome. I'm not predicting the outcome of the race, but I'm just saying I can already predict on election night 2026, people are going to be watching closely. As they sit in the evening, they look at the big screen. Assuming you got a big screen in front of you and you're going to have the TV on and you're going to be watching the results come in. But you can also watch the results on your phone. Not that big of a screen, but that's all right. Gets the job done. You could be looking at your laptop. You could have a tablet maybe. But all that you're doing, no matter what device you use, if you are watching the results come in, election night 2026, I know you're going to be watching Arizona. Arizona. I know there are other important races, obviously. We're going to be discussing all that. There's Michigan, there's New York, there's Wisconsin, House races, Senate races in different states, gubernatorial races. We're going to talk about all that. But I know that political analysts, they're going to be watching Arizona very, very closely. Also, keep in mind that Arizona is a border state. Arizona. Hold on a second, my friends. I gotta look at the screen. All right. So, Arizona is a border state, and the people of Arizona has suffered a lot because of Joe Biden's open border policy. And I'm sure that the people of Arizona are very grateful for what President Trump has done to secure the southern border. And would that have an impact on the governor's race in 2026? Maybe. 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 But here's an important point. If President Trump goes and campaigns in Arizona to help the Republican candidates for House races, for the gubernatorial race, if the president, Donald J. Trump, goes to Arizona to help the Republican candidates, including whoever the GOP nominee would be for the governor's race, that would have a huge impact. That would have a huge impact. And I believe that President Trump is going to do that. 2026, I believe is going to be a big year. 2026. Get ready. I mean, come on. This is almost the end of December 26th to tomorrow. Here in Wisconsin, in less than half an hour, it's going to be December the 27th. We're heading towards the new year very fast. I know you're thinking about your New Year's resolution and so on and so forth. Maybe you're thinking about spring because you're already tired of winter. And you're saying, oh, when is spring going to be coming? My friends, if you have a political mind like I do, if politics is what you think about a lot, then you're going to be very excited about 2026. Right after the first of the year, right after the new year starts. The different political campaigns will pick up speed. And so if you are someone who enjoys an intense political season, then 2026 is going to be your year. That's right. Anyway, this is going to be a big race, the Arizona governor's race. I've said that the incumbent Democrat has an advantage, but I also said it's a toss-up. And Katie Hobbs, in the polls, she's not performing very well. And that says something about the kind of governor she is. Not a good governor, not a great governor. So maybe she's going to lose. Maybe the Republicans will defeat Katie Hobbs in 2026. All right. So the Republicans have a real opportunity to win in Arizona, the governor's race, and let's wait and see what happens. All right. Okay, my friends, that's pretty much all that I wanted to say tonight. If you have any thoughts you want to share, if you have questions you want to ask me, go right ahead. I'm looking at the live chat window. So if you have a question to ask, go ahead. Go ahead, my friends, and please make sure that you're subscribing. Subscribe to this channel if you have not done so yet. Do not leave without subscribing, all right? All right, let's see. Yeah, ask me questions. I'll answer. Meaningful questions, as I've always said. Meaningful questions. I believe Trump is doing great. Somebody asked me a question about Trump. Trump is doing great. That's what I believe, all right? Hey, listen, it's not easy to be the president, okay? It's not easy. The most important political office, I think, anywhere in the world, the US president. And so President Trump, facing all the challenges that he faced, first he was in office as the 45th president, and then the 2020 election, which I still have a lot of questions about because I believe that Donald Trump won. But anyway, we're not going to start that debate here. 2020 election, I'll never forget. In my eyes, Trump's the winner. Anyway, President Trump was away from office for 4 years, faced tremendous challenges because the Democrats did everything that they could to try to stop President Trump from winning the presidency again. But, he's a strong man. And so he, a very determined person, a great leader, a brave person. He won the election and came back to office. And I think he's doing great. He's been through a lot. He's stronger than ever before. Yeah. Salerno says best president ever. Thank you, Salerno. Z is here. Hello, Z. Z says ultra mega. Love it. All right. Okay, my friends. Lots of new names today. That's great. Any questions for me? Salerno is asking, what do you think of New York? Salerno, New York is going to be very interesting. Okay, obviously it's a very, very blue state. The gubernatorial race is going to be a tough one for the Republicans. Over there also, Kathy Hochul has the incumbent advantage, but unlike Arizona, New York is a very, very blue state. Arizona is a swing state, battleground purple state. New York is blue. It's going to be tough for the Republicans in New York. I can tell you that. We still have to work very hard and perform as best as we can as a political party, as the Republican Party in New York. So let's see. Let's see. I'm going to talk about Wisconsin also, I think. There's an important race coming up in Wisconsin too. The governor's race. Okay. All right, my friends. So I think I've answered the meaningful questions. There are some folks here asking me questions that are not very relevant, but that's all right. I did not put the live chat in subscriber only mode, so anyone can participate. That's all right. All right. So who's this talking about the Texas Senate race? Who are you? Who are you? Let's see. Who is this? I have no idea. All right. Okay. All right, my friends. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you all so very much for participating today. The topic was the Arizona gubernatorial race, but I have a lot more to talk about regarding other issues, social and political, both domestic and international. We're going to be talking about Ukraine-Russia war soon. We're going to be talking about my thoughts and opinions, my hopes and priorities for our country as we enter 2026, what I think we should be focusing on. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about other Senate and governor's races that are coming up. So please stay connected, and I hope to be back again very, very soon. So before I conclude this live stream, may God bless you all. May God bless President Donald J. Trump. May God bless the Trump administration. May God bless the Republicans in Washington. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless our U.S. allies. And may God bless freedom-loving people all over the world. Thank you so very much, my friends. Please Do not forget to subscribe if you have not done so yet. All right. Thank you all so very much. I'm going to be back again very soon. You all have a wonderful night, and I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.